Alrighty, welcome everyone. We do have a few more people to come this evening, but we've only got an hour or so I think we'll just get started right now on time. So welcome, it's great to see that a few of you have returned since the last seminar, so wonderful to see you again, and also lovely to see a few new faces tonight. So my name's Ellie from Natural Balance Health and Fitness, and I thought I'll just tell you a little bit about my philosophy before we get started on the seminar this evening. Okay, so at Natural Balance, I've devised a holistic physical well-being model, which encompasses 6 main areas. So that's exercise, nutrition, stress, sleep, thoughts, and relationships. And the idea with that model is that all of those areas are intertwined and they all can contribute towards creating a picture of a person's health. Okay, and when one area is out of whack, it can really have a knock-on effect to all the other areas. So my role is really helping people to find that balance and then helping them to refine it and refine it and refine it again, because life changes all the time. You know, there's so many ups and downs, so we can't just have one plan that's going to see us through to the end. Okay, and tonight's seminar, Negative Nelly No More, really focuses on that thoughts section of the holistic physical well-being model. Okay, so it's about harnessing the power of your thoughts and to be able to achieve the results that you want to. And tonight I'm going to give you 5 practical tools that you can take away in order to be able to do that. We're really, really lucky this evening to have a guest speaker with us, so you can't miss him. He's the only male in the room. Everyone turn to have a look. So this is Brent Ruru, and Brent is a very inspirational and charismatic person. He's also an award-winning Toastmaster, so I did think that he was going to steal the show tonight. So what I've decided to do is leave him right till the end, and that will help me manage my time well as well. So you guys can listen to me babble on till about 8 o'clock, and then we'll hear from Brent for 10 minutes, and that will give us time then to for question and answers and for wrap-ups as well. Okay, just a couple of housekeeping things. There is a video on this evening. It's only going to be on the speakers, but if you do say something, then your voice will be in the video. So if you want that edited out for any reason, then please let me know at the end. And final housekeeping point, if you could please turn your cell phones off or have them on silent, because any cell phone interruptions tonight, it'll be 10 push-ups for everybody in the room. Yeah. And if you don't want to do push-ups, it'll be star jumps or something else. So have a check, make sure those are off. So can anyone tell me, has anyone heard of a man called Lewis Pugh? Hands up, has anyone heard of this man? I'm sure you would have, Brent. No? What about you, Pascal? No? Okay, well, I'll tell you a little bit about Lewis Pugh. So he's a motivational speaker. And he mostly speaks actually on environmental awareness, and alongside that he's also made some amazing physical achievements. Okay, so what he's done is he's swum in a number of the world's treacherous seas to raise awareness for global warming and for the environment. Okay, so I'm going to be telling you a little bit about him later on, but what I want you to understand is that he's achieved some amazing massive physical goals that he would not have been able to achieve had he not trained his mind properly. Okay, so if you want to achieve any sort of goal, no matter how big, if it's as big as Lewis's goals, for example, swimming the Arctic, because that was one of the things that he did, or whether it's a tiny little goal, you are going to need to learn to think and speak positively. Okay, and that's what the topic of tonight's seminar is. So I thought we'll start with just talking about why it's important to speak positively. So what we think turns into what we say, turns into what we do, turns into what we do repeatedly, which are our behaviours, which turns into what our lifestyle is, whether that be a couch potato lifestyle or a healthy, fit and active lifestyle. Okay, so what you think is directly related to the outcome that you are going to achieve. okay, for any sort of goal and for any part in your life. What you think about is what you get, okay? So if you say, I don't want to be fat anymore, okay, that is a sentence that is said or thought in a negative context, okay? You can tell by the words, I don't, okay? And that does absolutely nothing to tell your brain what it actually wants, okay? So I don't want to be fat anymore. What do you think your brain hears out of that sentence? Yeah, because it hears that one word, fat, because that word focuses on that word fat, okay? So I don't want to be fat anymore is not a good sentence for inspiring any sort of positive action, okay? I want to be slim and healthy gives your brain a much better idea of actually what it wants to do. Another one, you know, I can't run, okay? Absolutely useless type of sentence to say. You need to focus on what you actually can do, okay? And then you'll find that will link to you getting your positive outcomes. Next point, one small thought, one small negative thought can escalate into a huge ball of ugliness. Okay, and you're all nodding here, so you probably know what I mean. It's usually when someone says, you know, some sort of passing comment, for example, and you perhaps take that comment completely the wrong way, or you hear a comment and it might be whatever it is, and then you walk away and you start stewing on it and you go, oh, well, you know, they said this, so this means this, and that means this, and then you arrive at this decision that this person doesn't like me, or I don't like this person, or, you know, we just don't click. So it turns into, you know, it takes up a huge amount of time in terms of worry and stress as well. It's a very, very counterproductive way to be, but it's kind of the way that we tend to naturally be wired, is to think that way. But I want you to also think that conversely, one small positive thought can blossom into something amazing, okay, in just the same way. So just bear that in mind. Now, many of our worries and fears that we have are irrational. And what I mean by that is that they haven't happened yet. And they're probably not going to either. So Mark Twain, I actually have his quote up on my wall because I need to remind myself of this. Okay, I'm human too. I have same sort of worries. But he says, I'm an old man who has known a great many troubles, most of which never happened. Okay, so you might go into a new gym, for example, and you might have the thought, a common thought that people might have is, I'm not fit enough or slim enough to work out here. Okay, now the reality is that that's an imagined fear. Okay, most of the people, all of the people in the gym probably don't care what you look like. They probably don't care how fit or how slim you are. They're all on their own journeys. They've all got their own worries and challenges and issues. Okay, but you have these thoughts as a result of your beliefs. Okay, and that is a result of everything that you've seen, read, heard, and experienced to date in your life. Okay, and it's not a bad thing. We all have certain beliefs, but you need to start being aware of what these beliefs are. And if your belief is, you know, I can't work out here because I'm not fit enough or slim enough, how do you think that's going to support you towards achieving your goals? It's not. Okay, now some of you may be thinking, well, it's, you know, all very well, you might not know what it's like to feel like you're not fit enough or slim enough to work out somewhere. Now, let me just tell you that every single person in this whole world gets a number of comments given to them throughout their whole life, and it's up to them what they choose to do with those comments, whether they choose to form those into a belief, you know, an empowering belief that's going to help them, or whether they choose to turn it into a belief that's really going to hurt them and hinder them. Okay, and I'm going to give you some personal examples. Okay, now I have been pretty slim most of my life, except for my few years throughout university where I just drank a bit too much beer and ate pretty crappy food. Now, these examples are outside university though, so I'm pretty much in the body that I am now. Okay, and I'm going to give you some examples of some things that boyfriends have said to me, because, sorry Brent, but sometimes men just don't think before they speak, do they? And of course sometimes women don't think either, but a lot of the time men don't think before they speak. Now, I've always had lovely boyfriends. I can't say I've been out with any complete losers, but I'm going to tell you just a few things that they have said to me in the past and how I could have formulated certain beliefs from what they said. So boyfriend number one looks at my breasts and he says, oh, they're about the same size as mine. Do you think that from that comment that I could have formulated the belief, for the rest of my life that I have small breasts, that's fine, but I could have turned that into quite a negative thing, and that could have been something that really troubled me and worried me throughout my life and caused a lot of stress. I chose not to. As an impressionable teenager at the time, I was a little bit concerned for some time, and then I just kind of tired of worrying about my breasts. Anyway, boyfriend number two. Okay, he used to love grabbing my inner thigh, and he used to call that the flooby bit. Okay, so I went out with him for a couple of years, and I heard the flooby bit, the flooby bit, the flooby bit. Okay, do you think that I could have created something, an irrational kind of thought in my mind that I had flabby inner thighs? I could have, okay, but I didn't. Boyfriend number three, okay, was a personal trainer, very fit, and had a lovely body, which he worked very, very hard to get, but he had some very unhealthy behaviours and mindset in terms of trying to be a perfectionist. Okay, and he worked very hard to get his body, and he used to just get so frustrated with me, and he would just like he was just in so much distress, and he would be like, I just don't understand why you don't try harder, because if you tried hard, you could have the most amazing figure. Okay, if you tried harder, you could be this, you could be that, So what he was meaning was that I had a good template to work with, and why didn't I go into body sculpting or something ridiculous like that I didn't want to do? And so that probably would have been the easiest one for me to create unhealthy behaviours and unhealthy eating habits and exercise habits. The reason that I wanted to give you those examples is that every single person is getting all this information, and it's up to them what they choose to do with it and what they turn it into. So if you go into the gym, rather than thinking, I'm not fit enough, I'm not slim enough to be here, can you start to try and change those beliefs through the way that you think, and instead think of it in an empowering way? So think, I deserve to be here. This is the best place for me to do to achieve goal X, Y, Z, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to do that. Okay, because it's okay to have those beliefs. We need to start being aware of them so that we can shift them, because they can really, really hold us back from getting where we want to. Okay, that was in a little bit of an aside, but imagine fears. So finally, why we need to speak positively, because negative language, as I said, is associated with a lot of worry and stress has serious implications for our health. Okay, stress can pretty much be related to every health condition on the planet. Okay, and you're going to learn about that in my final seminar, which is stress busting solutions for a healthy toned body. Okay, so is everybody with me that we need to learn to harness our thoughts and think and speak positively? Good, well, we can begin then. So, as I said, I'm going to take you through 5 main steps tonight. Okay, that practical tools that you can use to harness the power of your thoughts. And the first one is visualization. Okay, so we're going to go back to Lewis Pugh, okay, who's swum in the world's most treacherous oceans to raise awareness for global warming. Okay, so Lewis is just like any human, he has negative thoughts and things as well, but he trained his mind so effectively for these swims. Now let me just give you a bit of a picture of what he did to swim the Arctic, because it's not an ordinary thing to do. Okay, so the temperature of your average swimming pool is about 27 degrees Celsius. The English Channel is something like 18 degrees Celsius. Okay, the passengers on the Titanic, they fell into water that was 5 degrees Celsius. Pretty damn cold. Fresh water freezes at 0. Okay, the water in the Arctic is minus 1.7. So it's the coldest water any human has ever swum in. Okay, now everybody said that he wouldn't be able to do it. Okay, physiologists said that he wouldn't be able to do it. Scientists, okay, they said, well, you know, if your limbs don't all fall off due to frostbite, then your internal organs will shut down and you'll die. Okay, so he's pretty much doing something that people are telling him is impossible. And I'll tell you, it is not something that you can do just from physical training. He had to train his mind very hard. Now, as I said, he is only human, so I think it was only a few days before the main event, he decided to have a bit of a practice swim. So in the main event, he was going to be required to be in this freezing, below freezing cold water for 20 minutes, okay, to swim to the North Pole. And so he thought he'd do a 5-minute swim. So he did a 5-minute swim, and after that amount of time, he couldn't feel his hands, which is a really important thing to need to be able to do if you're a swimmer. He wore nothing but Speedos and a swimming cap. I forgot to say that. That's kind of important. Paint picture, eh? Yeah, Speedos and a swimming cap. He wore Speedos. He did. And so he couldn't feel his hands, and he got out and his hands were all swollen. And what had happened is that a large percentage of the body is water, and when water freezes, it expands. So the water in his body had frozen, so he couldn't use his hands or feet properly. So he did start to stress a bit at this point and thought, you know, if I can't handle 5 minutes, then how am I going to handle this 20 minutes? And there was a British explorer a few years earlier, and he had attempted to ski all the way to the North Pole, and he fell through a sheet of ice. And he was in that water only for 3 minutes, and then he managed to get himself out, but he had to lose all of his fingers due to severe frostbite. Okay, so you can understand that Lewis is human, and he's starting to have these negative thoughts, but he, at that point, you know, he had to push those aside and know that he had done the training that was required to do this and that he could do it. And he did it. Okay, and the way that he did it was through a technique called visualization. Okay, so visualization is when you use all your senses. So you imagine what you can see, what you can smell, what you can feel, what you can hear, what you can taste. Okay, so he imagined everything about the entire swim over and over and over again. I'm going to just read you what he said exactly. So he said, the most important thing was to train my mind to prepare myself for what was going to happen, and I had to visualize the swim. I had to see it from the beginning all the way to the end. I had to taste the salt water in my mouth. I had to see my coach screaming for me, come on, Lewis, come on, go, 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 don't slow down. And so I literally swam across the North Pole hundreds and hundreds of times in my mind. Okay, and that is how he achieved that goal, through visualization. So it's a holistic picture of everything that's going on. Now, what I'm going to do at this point is hand out a worksheet for this evening, and you guys are going to start by just jotting down your own notes on your own visualization. So what I want you to do is imagine yourself in a picture of optimal health, okay, your optimal level of health, or it might be you when you've achieved a specific goal, running your first half marathon or fitting back into an old pair of jeans. And I want you to think about all those senses. Okay, so if you're running your half marathon, it might be I can see and hear my family cheering me over the finish line. You might want to even describe what you're wearing. You know, I can taste the ice cold water as I cross the finish line. It might be an ice cold beer. You know, whatever works for you. Like what is your picture of this situation when you achieve the goal? Same with the jeans. You know, what size are the jeans? What do they look like? What else are you wearing? What does your body look and feel like? What, you know, you've got a big smile on your face. What's your energy level like? So I want you to think of that whole picture, okay, and write down a few notes. So I'll get you to take one and pass them on, Kath. Now, hands up, who needs a pen? Help yourself, which one? Pink, pink. Do you say yes, Lisa? No, you got one. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes to do that. What I'm also going to hand around is just a plain pink piece of paper, and you can also write your visualization words or sentences on that, because there's no use writing this down if you leave it on this worksheet and then you stuff it in the back of some folder and never look at it again. Okay, this pink piece of paper is to put it on your wall, or to put it on your journal, or to stick it up in front of your laptop, or somewhere that you're actually going to see it and remind yourself. So I'll get you to take one and pass those on too. Other points were visualization as our first one, affirmations are our second one. So affirmations are those lovely little positive statements that we think and say, ideally say out loud. Okay. Now, why do we do affirmations? Well, we've already explained why to think and speak positively, because the things that we say and speak are going to be directly related to the outcomes that we achieve, the results that we achieve. And we started a few affirmations in the first seminar, in the slip up seminar. So we wrote down some slip up affirmations, things like, you know, I'm going to slip up on my journey, and that's okay because I've got a plan in place to get back on track and stay focused with my goals, or return my focus to my goals. So tonight I want to focus on a different type of affirmation. This is a self-love affirmation, okay? So what do you love about yourself? Because most of the time we're just always focusing on the things that we want to change. Okay, we've got this goal, or we want to be this or that. But what do you already love about yourself? Might be something about your body, might be something about your personality. For example, I have amazingly sexy shoulders. That might be your, you know, positive body affirmation. Might be the one part of your body that you really think is quite truly awesome. Okay, so I want you to just now take a couple of minutes to write down between 1 and 3 affirmations. So short, sort of positive statements you like about yourself as a person, about your body, about what you do. There is something, and there is more than just something. There are plenty of things. You just may not have thought in this way for a while. And of course you can take it away for homework, so don't make something up, just have a think about it. But there will be plenty. You just need to start rewiring your brain to think in a different way, rather than what do I want to change, what do I already love. It's got to be whatever resonates with you. So that's why I gave you this piece of paper for the visualization, and actually I'll give you another one to pass around to write your affirmations on. So it's up to you. You can do both. You can have them in a number of places. My partner and I have got a big vision wall, like an entire wall in our bedroom is our vision. So it's on my side, it's got some personal goals, some business goals. It's full of like quotes and pictures and just things that kind of inspire me, and same on his side. And then we've got some stuff in the middle that's sort of joint focus as well, and it's just a lot of fun. You know, we add to that wall over time. When we're walking around cuddling Ayla too, she looks at the wall and touches bits, and then we read it then. Yeah, I'm a little bit out of the habit of journaling, but that's maybe a good place to have it, is in the front of a journal. The only time I really journal is when I go on holiday. But yeah, so I tend to use my vision wall, and yeah, have 1 or 2 things stuck up above my laptop as well. But I found that I was getting too much stuff around my laptop, and I quite like to have that as quite a clean space. So preferred to decorate the wall, the bedroom wall. So anywhere that it works for you. Thanks, Angela. Please do. That's a great tip. A fridge is another one. Can be a useful place for some people. They stand and ponder opening the fridge or the cupboard. So yeah, the second, the yellow piece, if you want to just use that to write your affirmations, but we won't do them all this evening. We'll press on and finish our points. So let's look at the third one, is daily speak. So this is just the stuff that you say on a day-to-day basis. Now, my first point under here is start with the weather. Now, I can guarantee if you do not notice people speaking negatively about the weather, that after this evening, you will, probably for the rest of your life. Okay, so how many times do you hear someone say, it's a rotten day, it's an awful day, it's horrible out there? Okay, they don't even know that they're saying it, because this is the way that people are wired to speak. Okay, and this is about the most common thing that we talk about with people when we first see them in the morning, outside of our own house. So what do you think that does to the wiring of your brain for the rest of the day if you start talking like that? Yeah, I mean, for your mood and your mindset, and and then you've got other people saying, yeah, it's really, really awful. And we don't actually really think that much of it when you talk about the weather, because it seems to be just such a common way for people to talk. But those comments are absolutely untrue as well. It's not horrible, it's not awful, it's not terrible. That is your perception. Okay, so you could easily just say, it's a beautiful rainy day, couldn't you, Pascal? And I know, because I noticed that Pascal spoke positively about the weather, and I was like, oh my gosh, hallelujah, this is amazing. But of course, she's wired that way. She's retrained herself that way. And so next time someone says it's horrible out there, or it's an awful day, you say, is it? And then they might say, well, yeah, haven't you been outside? And you could say something like, well, I thought it was quite invigorating. I dressed up warm and just found the rain quite invigorating, actually. And they'll think you're the biggest nut bar around, but yeah, it might get them thinking in a slightly different way as well. And even just speaking like that will do wonders for your mood too. Second point, compliment others. Why do you think I would say that? Yeah, it does. Yep, definitely will make you feel good. If you're having one of those days where you just can't think positively about yourself, say something nice to someone else. It will make them feel great, and that will make you feel great. You'll be able to tell that they feel great. I've been busting to just say, Pascal, I love your scarf. It's been talking to me since so perhaps aim to give 3 compliments per day. Okay, that could be a target, 3 compliments to others. Take the focus off worrying about yourself for a while. Enjoy the journey, okay? Because newsflash, you're not always going to achieve the goals that you set out to, or they're going to take a lot longer to achieve than you thought. Now, if you're focused just on that end goal, okay, must achieve this goal, when this elusive day comes where you were supposed to achieve that goal and be this weight, or whatever, get this time in this race, and that doesn't happen and you fall short of that, how do you think you're going to feel? You could feel potentially very, very deflated and like it wasn't worthwhile. Okay, but know that if you're progressing towards your goals, you are getting stronger, you are getting fitter, you're going to be gaining more energy, more confidence. There's going to be a whole host of lots of things happening. So you need to focus on those along the way and celebrate the small successes along the way. Okay, and what I would suggest is that you focus on celebrating performance-based stuff rather than outcome-based things. So you might, for example, set yourself up a bit of a reward system and say, when I've done X number of workouts, I'm going to reward myself to a massage. Okay, it's just X number of workouts. It's not when I achieve a certain weight or something. Or, you know, when I eat. Woohoo! Awesome. Wow, that's a really cool idea.
And so, like, that's only $3 or $4 a week.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it as well. So it's a good way to budget for it, isn't it? Or you could say, you know, when I eat 5 vegetables per day for 2 weeks, this is what I'm going to do. So focusing on the journey along the way, and I want you to celebrate, you know, every workout that you do and every healthy meal that you eat, because they're all positive and they're all getting you in the direction that you're going to go. So you must enjoy the journey. Now, the last point is just, if it resonates with you, it's just an idea that when you think or speak negatively, you're going to catch yourself and you're going to, you know, it might be some sort of little punishment that you make up for yourself. And this won't work for everyone, but there's just a space on your page that if that does resonate with you, and it might be something like, every time I speak negatively, I'm going to do 10 push-ups or something like that. So it's actually something that helps you towards your goal, you know. So I'm just going to give you a minute just to think about that, let those points sink in. If you want to write any notes, or if you want to just create a little mini punishment. Yes, Pascal. Yeah, broken record. Yeah. So we've just got 2 more points to go. So the next one is people. Okay. Now, you might know what I mean when I describe vampires. So vampires are your energy-sucking people who drain the life out of you. You might feel depressed after you've been hanging out with them. And your cheerleaders are your really upbeat people that leave you feeling energized and feeling happy and motivated. Now, you can't always avoid being with vampires. Okay, you can't necessarily eliminate them out of your life. It might be someone that you work with, for example, mother-in-law or something like that. But what you can do is you can start to devise a little plan for yourself for when you do need to hang out with those people, and that might be every time I need to see this person afterwards, I take a walk. I go for a walk to get some fresh air and to clear my head and to reset as well. Okay, but what I want you to just brainstorm on your sheet is what are those up to 5 people that might be draining my energy when I hang out with them, and what are the 5 people that give me energy that I should be trying to spend more time with. Okay, so just start by identifying, and you might not have 5, it might be 1 or 2 in each category, but then just start to think, how can I spend more time with the cheerleaders? Yeah, sure. Use a made-up nickname for them, something that you know. Don't leave it lying around at work or wherever. I struggled with that for quite a while. You know, I like to hold on to my old friends and keep in touch with all of them, and I had to kind of accept that at some point there are some points where we really start to travel different paths, and I've had to, you know, so all the friends that I had in high school, we shouldn't necessarily be as good of friends now, and I'm trying to keep these things alive, and I'm like, wow, we've got nothing in common now. And actually I've noticed that most of all since I've become a parent, because my views on life and the world are really becoming clearer and stronger, and well, actually, but most of my old friends are completely on the opposite end of the spectrum to me, and yes, I've had to find some new groups to mix with, and that's been really fantastic to meet people who are like-minded. Because it took me a while to realize, oh, hang on, no one that I hang out with even thinks or in any sort of same way that I do. So it can be a hard one, but an interesting one to think about. So again, just think about it and add to it after you go home or over the next few days. The final point, practical tip that I have tonight is for writing, okay, journal writing. Now, journaling, again, it's something you've just got to get into a habit of. I find that it does work well at the end of the day, okay? And these are just some ideas of what you can do to journal. Okay, so journaling is a great way to just gain clarity around your day and to get rid of any demons before you go to bed as well. Ideally help you with your sleep. So some ideas of what you can write, what went well, what didn't go well, the compliments that you gave to others, what tomorrow's focus is going to be, and some things something that you're grateful or appreciative of. So it might just be that you write one of those things, or it might be all of them. But if you don't have a journal, I've got some just really simple 1v5 exercise books. So please come and help yourself to one afterwards. Yeah, it's just a really, they're really great because you can decorate them in any way that you like to. So you can stick those affirmations on the front and inside the front cover and things. So please just take one on your way out. And the last point under writing is to write a letter to yourself. Okay, now the letter to yourself is going to be about all the wonderful things that you have achieved so far. Okay, and it may be over the past year, for example, it may be over the past 5 years or over your entire life. Okay, because so often we focus on the things that we haven't done and that we've fallen short of, whereas in fact you've achieved a lot. Okay, and a letter to yourself is just a one-off exercise, and it's just a reminder that you are a wonderful person. Okay, so there's just a couple of ideas for you. And that does bring us to the seminar in this evening, but just we do have a little bit of time. Went a little bit further on last time, and I was aware that we didn't have time for sort of questions and comments. So does anyone have anything that they want to share that might help other people in the group, or do you have any questions about anything that we've covered this evening at this point? Or do you have a lot to think about and assimilate in your head?
Talking like that, and she basically said to me, she's going, I hate my stuff. You know, I was 14, my mother's kid, and she said that. And when I was with her, she said, "Good for me, and from that day on, she's been so paranoid about her big boyfriend. She's put that in, and she's now on the children. And I just thought I'd share that actually, you know, that is so powerful.
Yeah, and that probably wasn't the only comment that she's had either. So yeah, I mean, that's such a shame that people do just pile these comments one on top of the other. And so you know, one person might form a belief just from one single comment, but you know, another person might form a belief because they've had 100 comments on a certain thing, and so it's going to take a lot more work for them to turn their belief around, because they've had so many. They're called references. So references can be either like virtual references, or they can be actual references, like things that have actually happened to you or been said, and they can be empowering references or negative ones. And what someone like that needs to do is they need to create a whole bunch of new positive references to kind of override that, and they might need to create a lot of new references. You know, like people saying nice things over and over again, them saying nice things to themselves over and over and over again. So it's gonna, yeah, it could take quite a lot of rewiring for a person like that, especially if they've had that belief, for that really, really long time. Yeah, totally relevant. Yeah. You pretty much need to be like a Zen-like, Buddha-like yogi person to not be affected by the people that are around you. Okay, you will be. You may have heard the saying that you will earn the median amount of your friends that you hang out with. I wrote a note in my book that you will probably be about the average size of the people that you hang out with. So yes, you kind of become the average of who you hang out with. So that is, entirely true, and something that we all just need to think about. So good that you've taken that away. Anything else? If anybody's got anything that they want to comment on to me personally, or anything that you want to ask to myself or Brent, then please feel free to stay behind afterwards. Let me just point out a few things. I'd love you to help yourself to anything on the table. So once again, I've got the nice basic journals there. So please take one if you want to start on your journal writing. I will pass some seminar feedback around, so I'd love it if you could just answer a few questions before you do leave. A few other things, got leaflets and things to help yourself too. Got a few copies of my book there. I know some of you have read it already. It's called Burning Fat for Good. So it's a holistic look at fat loss. So it does encompass those 6 areas of well-being. If you want to take a copy, they're $29 and you can pay later. The details are in there. Also, we've got Kath King, who just spoke there on the end. So she's got a few of her health leaflets at the end too. I did also produce an audio to go with the book, and if you'd like a free copy of that, you can pop your name down on the sheet too, and I'll email it to you. So just as a reminder, there are 2 seminars left. The next one is around motivational tips for success, and the last one is stress busting solutions for a healthy toned body. So some of you are booked in for those already. If you haven't, then book in if you want to, and hopefully I'll see you then. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming along tonight, and have a lovely evening. Chat to me afterwards. Thanks. You're welcome.